be traced to another famous but much more humble car. The origins of the Porsche 911's iconic shape and design can be sourced to a more modest vehicle, the Volkswagen Beetle, and the brilliance of a man named Ferdinand Porsche.
Ferdinand Porsche was very much ahead of his time. He was a technical genius.
Ferdinand Porsche was a self-taught automotive designer and engineer. In 1900, at the age of 25, he designed the world's first hybrid gasoline-electric car for an Austrian company. He also spent more than a decade designing cars for Mercedes. By the 1930s, Ferdinand Porsche had formed his own company designing cars for other manufacturers. He sold the German government on his dream of a small, simple car that would be affordable to the masses. That car eventually became the Volkswagen Beetle. After World War II, Ferdinand Porsche's son, Ferry Porsche, took control of the company. Ferry Porsche wanted a sports car, not for the general public, but for his own driving pleasure. A post-war shortage of parts forced Ferry Porsche to use components from the Volkswagen Beetle. The rear-mounted air-cooled four-cylinder engine, the gearbox, and the suspension.
Ferry Porsche modified everything to make it more sporty.
The car that emerged in 1948 was the Porsche 356. More than 75,000 were made over the course of 15 years. It was the first sports car to bear the Porsche name. In the late 1950s, Ferry Porsche wanted a new sports car. This time, he insisted on a more powerful six-cylinder engine. For the new car's physical design, Ferry Porsche turned to his oldest son, known as Bootsy Porsche.
He realized a perfect successor of the Porsche 356 because he used the classic design line of the car, but he moved it in a very forward way.
The result was presented in 1963 and eventually was called the 911. Over the course of 4 decades, the design was updated just 5 times, resulting in 6 generations of 911s.
I think the design carries on because Porsche always understood very well what you have to do to bring the 911 design language into the future.
Now, the unpainted body shells descended from the first 911s built in 1964 are ready to leave the body shop to be painted. The trouble is, the body shop and the paint shop have a 4-lane road separating them. So how does the body shell move from the body shop to the paint shop? A bridge.
This bridge is going over one of the most used streets in Stuttgart.
It takes about a half hour for a body shell to travel 94 yards over the bridge to the paint shop. The paint shop's first step is a car wash that removes dirt and grease. Bodies are then blow-dried to remove any lingering dust. Once the surface is clinically clean, it heads into a paint bath containing almost 16,000 gallons of paint. The bath holds an anti-corrosion paint called cathodic dip primer. the cathodic dip primer is electrically charged positive. The metal carrier that holds the car carries a negative charge. As the car is submerged, the carrier agitates the car, making sure the positively charged paint is drawn to every part of the negatively charged body. When the car emerges from the bath, the bond of the paint is so strong that excess paint can be washed off with water. Now the car heads into a dryer for 30 minutes to cure the cathodic dipped paint. A single speck of dust can ruin a paint job, which is why technicians dust the body before the primer coat. The interior of the car is primed by human painters. The exterior is where the robots take over. The primer is electrically charged positive. As the robots atomize the paint into the air, the paint is attracted to the car's negatively charged surface. It may look like the color coat, but it's not. The primer can be one of 5 colors: white, light gray, dark gray, yellow, or red. The selected primer color is the closest match to the color coat. With the primer complete, the car heads into a 338-degree Fahrenheit dryer for 30 minutes. Now, it's time for the car to get its color coat.
The most popular colors for a Porsche are black, white, red.
Porsche offers 12 standard colors, plus 9 premium colors. But for a fee, Porsche will custom paint your car any color you want. Because of the number of colors offered by the factory, the color coat is painted by hand. Painters are trained to paint the body from front to back, beginning with the top before moving to the sides. It takes 3 years of training before a painter is allowed to spray the color coat onto the cars. Ventilation systems supply clean air through the painter's masks as they spray the water-based paint. In all, over a gallon of paint is applied depending on the color. With the color coat complete, the 911 heads into a 320-degree Fahrenheit dryer to cure the paint. The final layer is a solvent-based clear coat. The clear coat is painted by robots because the same clear coat is used for every car. The robot is also programmed to open the doors of the car and coat the interior surfaces. The paint shop's final job is putting the Porsche logo on the vehicle's hood. In all, it takes 8 hours for a 911 to enter the paint shop as a steel shell and exit a painted car. Now, preparations are underway to build the vehicle's 6-cylinder heart. From the very beginning, since 1964, the heart of the Porsche 911 has always been a 6-cylinder engine. But not just any 6-cylinder engine.